This is William Crosby. This is my profile, and I'm here with Eliza Crosby, who worked at the elementary school that was closed down.
The issue here I am covering in my profile is the how the school closure is it's going to be affecting the students and the parents of those who went to the school, as it's going to not only hurt the students, but it's also going to hurt the parents, and it's going to be taking an effect on both of them, and how it's also going to affect teachers, because teachers and staff of the school, because they are going to be losing their jobs, and the students are going to a completely new school, and the parents have to figure out all the new routes and how everything works.
This is William Crosby. This is my profile, and I'm here with Eliza Crosby, who worked at the elementary school that was closed down. How are you today, Eliza?
I'm good.
So could you tell me a little bit about yourself?
About myself?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want me to say?
Anything?
I work for the Jordan School District, and I worked at West Jordan Elementary, and I was listed as an assistant, but I was kind of their permanent substitute, so I subbed for the teachers so that they didn't have to call in subs from outside or from the district if they were in like an emergency or anything like that.
Okay. How long did you work at the elementary school?
I started there in, I think, 2017 or 2016, something like that. I started out just working in their support department with the support kids, and then after I was there for about 2.5, 3 years, I moved over to just being an assistant in the second grade, and then that's when they moved me to being like their permanent substitute.
Okay. And what made you want to work at the elementary school?
Long story short, it was my daughter had a medical emergency, and I working the 8-hour a day job was straining on my family, with me gone 8 hours and my husband 8 hours, and the kids would come home and I wouldn't be here, and so I needed to take care of my family, so I needed hours that were going to work with being able to be a mom and have a job. And so I took a huge pay cut and I moved over to working at the elementary school so that I could be closer to my daughter in case we had another emergency.
Okay. So exactly kind of describe when you first learned that the school was going to be shutting down. What was going through your head? What exactly was going on?
Well, there had been schools on the chopping block we'd been on the chopping block for a few years to shut down, and they were going to shut down Majestic, but they ended up turning it into an art school instead, and they were going to renovate our school because the school, when it was originally built, was just meant to be temporary, and then they were going to actually rebuild the school and everything. But as time went on, they didn't rebuild, and they had set aside money to rebuild the school, but ended up dispersing that to other schools and kind of helping upgrade those and renovate those, and decided to shut us down. And so the district, or the superintendent, there was a meeting that he had and with everybody at our school, just kind of out of the blue, and just said, we're shutting the school down in 1 year. And so that gave us all kind of a year to scramble and find other jobs. And it was whether you stay with the sinking ship or you go and you find something else. And a lot of us stayed because we'd worked there so long and our kids had gone there. And so it was a place that was near and dear to our hearts. And when we learned of it, we really hoped that they would keep us open for another year, but they didn't. They started closing proceedings, and people fought to keep it open. The neighborhood fought to keep it open. The parents fought to keep it open, but it didn't do any good. They made their decision, and most of the board voted to shut the school down. Even though their kids didn't go there anymore, they shut the school down. And
as I continued to interview Eliza Crosby, she discussed some of the things. She'd started subbing a lot so people could go on interviews and find new jobs because they weren't promised new jobs. And they were told that the building was deemed unsafe. And so in the KJZZ.com article, which is called Parents, District Officials Continue to be Divided Over Western Elementary Rebuild, which I have linked in the description, she says, quote, "It was intended to be a 20-year school, and it was intended to actually kind of be moved with growth and needs of the area," close quote. And that was said by Jen Atwood. And she's one of the Jordan School District board members, and they had a couple meetings, and basically they decided that they were going to close, not only due to the structure of the building, but also because students were leaving, or there wasn't enough students in other schools, and so they needed to put more students from West Jordan Elementary into other schools. As I started to wrap up my interview with Eliza Crosby, she told me how a lot of the students light up because there's a lot of staff that found jobs at other schools, luckily through everything. But that's been really hard on not only those students, but it's also hard on her own daughter, who was going to the school in 5th grade and was supposed to see her friends for one more year in 6th grade and then go to high school or to middle school. And she continued to tell me how it's just affected people. It's drained their mood because that school was like a piece of home away from home. And as I concluded the interview with her, she just told me that it's still really hard, but there's a lot of students that are still looking up, and it's all because of this shutting down of the school, that there's a lot of students who are being affected, not just physically, but mentally. And so it's really hard on them.